I lived in New York City most of my adult life in Manhattan. I'd say for about 22 years. And that's when I became a journalist, a freelance journalist. I worked for myself. I was never on staff. I didn't want to be on staff. And I wrote, it was not easy to survive in New York City on a writer's salary, right? But I made it. I mean, I made it happen. And I worked for a lot of the well-known publications like the New York Times, the International Herald Tribune, Chicago Tribune, Town and Country, Harper's Bazaar. I mean, when you're a freelancer, you will take whatever you can get. So that's.
I just tip my hat to you journalists, like listening to like the guy Redacted. Can't remember what his name is, him and his wife, and just what's going on with the journalists. Like you're just being shut down, and it's just a different world out there these days, isn't it?
It's a different world, Jackie, and I'm so glad I was in it when I was. I'm not doing that anymore. But that was
that would not probably fall in line with what's going on here, right?
No. So I kind of left that behind when I left New York City about 14 years ago and moved to Taos, New Mexico, where I am now. So that was one of my best decisions. And I love being in the high desert, close to the earth. It's so healthy. I love nature is gorgeous here, which I'm sure it is where you are in Canada.
It is, except for I'm right on the water, right on the ocean. You know that I need to probably move inland here shortly, right?
Yes. Well, I miss the water. I really love the water. There's something really magical about the desert,
I have only been to the desert a few times, and my daughter right now is going to university in Phoenix. But my best girlfriend lived there for a few years, and I used to go and take the girls for spring break, and the lemon trees and the orange trees and it was fragrant and it was beautiful. I wasn't expecting it to be pretty, because it's desert.
Right.
And then we went up to Sedona, and of course, right. What can you say about that magical place, right?
Right.
So I had a little bit of experience with the desert, but I understand what you're saying.
Yes. Because it's in all that emptiness, there's so much going on, kind of contradiction.
Yes. Yeah. There's like, what they said, like in Sedona, there's like the vortexes or something right? We had like a shaman that was doing, we had a women's intuition weekend, and she was doing it was pretty powerful.
Oh, so Sedona is very powerful. Yes. I've been there many times.
Easter weekend, double full moon. It was.
Wow. That last time I was there was on Easter weekend. That was years ago.
Yeah. I bet we were there together.
Maybe we were. I so appreciate you reaching out to me. Thank you. It's a joy to meet you and be on your show.
Oh, I'm excited about this conversation. I mean, this is there's quite a list of activities here that you are going to share with us. And so New York, my dad used to go there, and he loved it. He said it's just a sewer, right? Because he's a musician, ran the American Federation of Music, and he loved it. And I've never been, but always wanted to go, not to live.
Well, it may be in your future. Yes, not living there is another story, but it's a great place to visit. And I'm actually going there in another week. I have a new book that came out 2 weeks ago.
And I don't know if
in that bio, it probably isn't. And I should have sent you an updated, but that's okay. I'll tell you about it. It's called The Years of Living Dangerously.
Lessons. Yes, I do see it here. The years.
Okay.
Lessons from the front lines of the 21st century lightworker.
Yes. And
yes. Let's dive into this. We've got the third muse, metaphysical time travel mystery set. Like, this is really exciting.
Yes. It's been fun. I have to say it's been fun. And I feel blessed, as I'm sure you do, that we get to live our dream and do what we are here to do, what we feel we're here to do,
Well, and I think that's just a new shift, isn't it, really, in our lifetimes, right? That's happening. Like, I listened to you say you're a journalist, but you didn't do it normally. You worked on your own, right? Like, that's total pioneer, right?
Yes.
Creating that venue for now, look at what's happening, right? Like, good for you.
Right. It was a great background, and I was able to travel the world as a journalist. My assignments were really vehicles, as you know, for my personal growth, my spiritual expansion, and so they were just, the actual articles were really like a sidelight for me, and everything else that was happening to me just kind of took over, and that's what went into my book. A lot of it, the journey.
Where are we going to start with your books? What book should we start on? Should we start with the one that you've just released? Should we talk about that?
Sure, we could talk about that. And it's actually a sequel to my book. It's a spiritual travel memoir that came out in 2011 called Sojourns of the Soul, which does chronicle my journeys to sacred sites around the world and all of the ancient wisdom associated with them and all of the revelations and mystical insights. But this book takes it a couple steps further. It's, when people say woo-woo, this one is kind of, some things for some people may be unbelievable in them, but I have a fair warning on the first page saying that you will have to have a willing suspension. Yes. That everything reported herein is true, and that you'll have to have a willing suspension of disbelief. But I go more deeply into, how can I put my tests and trials, okay, which we all have, and a lot of them very hair-raising. I mean, almost near extinction events. When you take, as you well know, Jackie, and you made a comment at the beginning of the show, when you take this light work public, there can be resistance.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of resistance. And it may come through individuals, but it may also come, and often does, from the unseen realms. In the Bible, and I'm not a Bible scholar, and I consider myself more spiritual versus religious, although I honor religions, which have helped many people. In the Bible, the word for these unseen, what I call anti-forces, are principalities.
Okay.
So, and I call them the anti-forces. I don't like to put a value charge on them. I mean, of the anti-light, and we live on a duality plane. Right? And everything that we experience happens in duality.
Boy, does it ever. And it's intense now, isn't it?
Oh, right. Everything. And that's what we came to master in this, what Edgar Cayce calls schoolhouse planet Earth. Well, some of us would like to finally graduate, but who knows? We're all ongoing works in progress, and it's a very exciting journey. And yet, as we know, it's not an easy one. And everybody comes in, right, with their own tests and challenges that they have to overcome, which grows our soul. And I believe that these tests were chosen by us, by our souls, before we came.
Hey, I believe that. That's the only thing that keeps me still here.
Yes, exactly.
You need to swallow the pills that are coming my way, right? It's like, okay, I chose this, right? And this is for me to learn this again.
We have to kind of turn it upside down, or the curveballs. I call them the energetic curveballs. And sometimes we're caught off guard, and I really feel, and, having reached, we're all, like I said, infinite works in progress, but having reached a certain level of experience in my early 60s, I feel that there really can be little to no growth without some type of tension, or people may say conflict. And that can be within oneself, between oneself and others, or between oneself and the universal spirit, God, the creator. And those trials are put there for us to evolve, and don't you see and feel yourself becoming stronger and stronger each time you overcome one of those obstacles. I wanted to go into that in this current book so that people would know that they're not alone. Sometimes it can be, especially when you're working on behalf of the light, a lot of us do it behind the radar. Some of us, like you and I, have more public roles. A lot of people aren't in the public eye, but even so, it doesn't matter really, quote, what you're doing. It is who you are, as I say. And that means the frequency that you hold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Which, I just always assumed that lots of people understood about energy. And I was talking energy like a long time ago. And then I realized that people didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
And it's interesting because we're all at different stages and we learn different things, and none of it's right or wrong or good or bad, which we've made it.
Yes.
Like my conversation with my daughter, I was saying, is living in Phoenix, and I said, without the contrast, right, without the rain, you wouldn't really enjoy that sunny day. Right? She goes, oh, it's sunny here all the time. And I'm like, hey, quiet already. Rain the last 10 days here. Right? The sunshine makes you feel so good. But we know that it felt so good if we didn't know what that cold, nasty, windy rain felt like, right?
Yes, that's so true. Yeah. It's the contrast, and it's everything. It's the light and the dark and the spirit and matter and the head and the heart and the sacred and the sensual, which, is all of these are call for an integration within ourselves on this duality plane, coming to master the duality experiment and moving into greater and greater wholeness, which, as you know, is healing, is about healing.
Yeah, this is like the rise of the divine feminine right now, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Within male and females.
Yes.
I think we've just been, the divine feminine has been squashed for so long. And obviously is such a powerful part of all of us. It's,
right.
I think that really has caused a lot of problems. I know for me it has.
Yes.
Like the whole, I just really seen traveling in Europe that women they were down there in the cave, like down in the cells or whatever. They weren't watching, the games or like just wild.
Yes.
That wasn't that
long. For so long. And yet, interestingly, there were a lot of female mystics throughout the ages who did carve their own path.
They burned them. They called them witches and burned them.
Witches. Right, the witches, but then I'm thinking even within the confines of religion, you had Teresa of Avila and the Julian of Norwich and other anchoresses, even within that structure, they were able to carve a pioneering path of the spirit for themselves because they rejected all outer convention, right? They didn't get married, they didn't have children. So that would be kind of within the conventional structures, they were able to do that. But then, like you say, yes, there were healers, there were women healers and mystics who were called witches. And, the demonization of the divine feminine has just been so out of control. And Mary Magdalene, as you well know, has been called a prostitute for so many decades, centuries. And that is being redeemed now as we speak, as you said, takes its rightful place alongside the divine masculine.
Yeah, it's a really cool time, isn't it? And really understanding and learning about kind of our history and how just the patterns of, they just are replaying and replaying and replaying, like my relationships, right? Okay, here's the same problem, right? So common denominator,
right?
Right? Like I do lots of the Dr. Joe work, and he says, to change your personal reality, you have to change your personality. Love that, but it's very hard to see ourselves. It's a lot of, we can see what everybody else is doing wrong, but not many of us are able to see ourselves. Like what part of that's mine, right? Usually we just this because we live in that victim society, and it's so stay there. Like I was there for a long time, right? And you can't heal. You can't move anywhere until you take on that. I'm the one who can shift all of this.
Right, knowing that we're the projectionist of the movie, right?
We don't know about that, right?
We're not.
People have to change.
Yes, right? We don't have that. That's the thing. You've heard about all the mystery schools, right? Of the past, and these young children went to the mystery schools and they were schooled in, spiritual teachings and practices that already elevated their consciousness. And we don't have that in our society, which we need. It's there if you seek it out. There are mystery schools that exist, and I went to one of them called Nine Gates, and that was in California, but they're very much underground. And I feel that this has to come much more into the mainstream,
Are most of the presidents students of the mystery? Is that what it's called, the mystery?
Well, that's it. Okay, so what happened throughout the ages is the ancient mystery schools in their purest form were of the light. But over time, like everything else, those teachings got corrupted. And without going too far into that, there were various groups that co-opted, I won't name them, but various groups that co-opted those teachings and subverted them and used them for nefarious purposes. So we light workers like us, and I use the word light worker, and people say, well, what does that mean? It means somebody who works with the light, who holds and emanates the light, and emanate like a star or the sun, right? And it's not about sending or, you have to do this and I'm going to go heal this person, it's about continuing to work on ourselves, right? To grow and to become more whole within, where our light shines more freely, and then it becomes an effortless endeavor emanating. So let's say you walk into a room and you don't even say a word, but people automatically entrain to your frequency because you're holding and emanating the light, not doing, but more of a beingness, which is more of a divine feminine way, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's powerful, isn't it? Right? I think it's just living and breathing within the heart space, right?
Yes.
You there pretty quick.
It's all about the heart. Yes, I did workshops. I'm not doing them now, but for many years on embodying the wisdom of the heart and about the heart teachings of many different sacred traditions. And that's exactly, you hit the nail on the head. To me, that is the launching pad of our ascension right here in consciousness. Ascension in consciousness, moving to higher levels of consciousness is in the unitive space of the heart, you know.
So that's big. That's a really big thing to understand, because I'm just really kind of getting that now, because we're always looking out. I mean, you know to look within and to meditate within your heart space, but we've been taught to look outwards.
Yes. And people compare themselves. And, you know, social media hasn't helped that, right? I mean, social media can be used for the good, but it's also can bring people down. So it's so much of it is gathering inward. And all the great mystics of the ages taught that. And their teachings are so relevant today, you know, from all traditions, whether it's Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, from the Essene tradition, the ancient Egyptian mystery school teachings with, you know, the gods and goddesses of Egypt that I feel were very real. I do. They may have been energy forms, but I feel they walk the earth. Isis, Osiris, Sekhmet, Hathor. And so the Greek mystery school, the Eleusinian mysteries. I mean, this is throughout the Avalon mystery school and the teachings.
I've never even heard about all that.
That's Merlin and King Arthur, right?
Okay, I love Merlin.
Lady, I could see that. I could see you have a connection. Yeah.
I don't. I watched that movie when I was quite young. I think I was a teenager, and I just thought it was the best movie. I just loved Merlin. I thought he was.
I love Merlin. Yeah. And that's a huge, oh my gosh, living energy. You know, all of this wisdom and all of these time periods are still happening now, right?
That's the hardest thing to wrap around. Like, I mean, I can.
Isn't it?
I can more so now than before, but everything's happening on different timelines at the same time.
At the same time. It does make your mind spin. And if physics, you know, is right, and I'm sure it is, that the past, present, and future exist simultaneously. My goodness, we're just, you know, we have access to all of these different dimensions at any moment. And this is the thing that we humans forget about, all of us, that we are so much bigger than we think we are. Our energy, our aura, our souls are vast, you know. We're not bodies in space and time, as A Course in Miracles says.
100%. And it's like, people need to know. They need to know about this. And I know that there's a lot of people that do know, and I'm still, you know, metabolizing and grasping all of that information. And it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Very awesome information, because like, we can shift ourselves, we can heal ourselves, we can create a new story and have a whole new outcome if we're willing. And if we are, we just have to jump in. But if we don't understand that we are the only ones that can shift it, and we're all sitting there waiting for someone to fix it or someone else to change. Right. Like, we're just sitting, we're getting nowhere. It's so weird. It's I just love it.
And that's why, you know, the work you're doing is so important, to bring this to a larger audience, you know, to empower people. It's about
this is a dark night of the soul. This wasn't something I seeked out. You know, it just how it all unraveled.
It just happened.
Wild. Yeah, I didn't realize that I'd signed myself up for a broadcast yourself. What part of that am I not getting? I would myself. Yeah.
Right.
It's on all your social media. It was like, no way. Walking through that.
You know, that dark night of the soul pushes us into uncomfortable experiences that we don't even know our soul is calling in, right? So
absolutely. Yeah. I watched Brian Rose, Lennon Reel, interviewed Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it was, you know, my daughter had passed. Like, it was just horrible things were happening all at the same time, you know, like lots of family deaths at the same time. And just really just a pile up. And thank God, like I never even watched that stuff before. Well, I mean, that's not true. The podcasts, and on there, they just spoke my language. And then, so I watched, more and more. And then I started to learn. And it really probably gave me the strength to walk through those days that were, tough. Tough days. Yeah.
Huge curveballs, grief and loss, loss of loved ones, divorces, losing.
I had all that at the same time. Dad, sister, my daughter. I at 52 got a brand new baby, 3 months.
Wow.
Right.
At 52.
I was 52 and my daughter passed. And we didn't know who the dad was.
Oh.
Right? So she was like a little Buddha baby. It was incredible.
Oh, wow.
So that was a gift, even though, you're grieving and you're just not in a great space or whatever. Like, we healed each other for sure.
It breaks open the heart, right? Which we said is really, the heart is where it's at. I mean, I have a mantra, drop out of your head and into your heart. And our culture today encourages so much of this headiness, this analysis and thinking things, overthinking things, like what the Buddhists call the monkey mind. And that, oh my gosh, and what happens is the mind agitates the heart. That's why all of our meditation traditions, all the wisdom traditions, have meditations that still the mind, right? That make the mind calm so the heart can be calm. And healing, that's where healing begins, in the mind. And you mentioned it earlier about that we can create whatever we want to create. That includes optimal health and well-being, optimal emotional wellness, wealth, if that's what you desire, anything, work that
wherever we're focused, whatever we're focusing our energy on, which is usually not positive, good things.
It's usually not, right.
We get more of it. And so once you really can start to understand and grasp that, you got to really shift the story. Boy, that's the work. That's the work.
That's the work.
And
it's so much about seeing that, noticing.
Yeah.
Just noticing.
That's tough because we go inside and then in the head. And when I'd go like 6 months sometimes just in a downward spiral, and then I kind of pop up and be like, wow, right? Like, but just not being able to see from the outside. Like I couldn't get that perspective for a long time, right? And so you're like, wow, how did I, like, it almost feel like I came up for air. It was a really nice feeling, but
you noticed, that you noticed, and then you came back to center. And, the ancient Toltec peoples of Central America, they have a wonderful practice and I don't know if they still, the ones remaining practice it, but it's called stalking yourself. STALKING, where you're simply noticing where's your attention in every moment, right? Yep. Are you distracted by like disempowering thoughts or judgments or fears or doubts or whatever it is? And it's okay if you are, because all humans have that. You just notice, and then you come back to your heart center, shifting your attention, and all of that floats away. And the more and more you do that, it becomes an automatic practice. And then you live more consistently with your attention at your heart center, less distracted by
That's it right there, right?
Right there. Yes.
To actually get that's what you have to do. If we just had a little blueprint of, okay, you're doing this, check in, right? And focus back, bring your focus back to, it's big.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It seems so simple, but it's not easy, right? And that means that requires so much vigilance during the day. Like somebody cuts in front of you in traffic, or you have a surly attendant somewhere in the grocery store. It's like, whoa, we're being thrown all of these curveballs tests every second. And it's I've found, and it's an ongoing practice, but I found that the more present we are, the more grounded we are in our body. And when we're grounded in our bodies, we're automatically in our heart center. When we're in our minds, we're not grounded.
Oh God, no, I can tell you that much for sure. And I feel a little bit better because I listened to this astrologer, but she's a therapist or whatever. And she used your whole soul path to kind of help to deal with the situation, which I thought was brilliant. But she was an air sign. She was a Gemini like me. Now we just are like this. We're ungrounded. I was like, oh, thank
we're
God.
Just like this.
It's not just me, because I am like that. It's very, and I have always been like that. Very, right? Like very, the grounding is super important. So
important on a spiritual path, especially because, if we're not fully, in our bodies. And I have had to learn this too, because when, living in New York, there's so much stimulation, and I call it static interference. And then there's that, intellectual seduction and a culture. And it's just like, it's all in the mind. And when I moved to New Mexico, I felt so much more connected to the earth. Yes. Yeah. I don't know where, but supposedly he lives here.
I think so too. It's supposed to be pretty spirit place.
Yes, it's incredibly beautiful. And I feel like it's a very powerful energy, but it has a big feminine current of energy, because there are lots of curves in the land, and even though it's the desert, it has both. It has the balance. But in New York or in any big city, you're kind of cut off from that natural rhythm of life, and you do get too focused. And you know all about the practice of earthing, right? Walking on the earth in your bare feet and bringing the negative ions up from the earth, which are healing. They're antioxidants. They reduce inflammation. I mean, there's so many practical benefits to being grounded.
I was focused on that a little bit this summertime, but I find that I don't have any good grass around here.
Yes. Well, yeah, I have sand and gravel. So I think that's why we feel so much better at the beach, because we're walking on the sand, connecting with the pulse of Gaia, which is a feminine energy. And that's important. And even if the Japanese now have a practice called forest bathing, which I said to a friend is, we were spending time in the woods forever, right? When we were kids. And it's just another way of saying, go spend time in the woods. The trees give off phytochemicals, which are healing, just to be in the presence of trees and the sun.
We have the forest that we go jogging through, and you take the little baby joggers and go jogging through there, and that oxygen that it's spectacular. I haven't done that for a while. I really should do that again, but totally right. Like, it's really
and even just so these are simple things that most people know about, but we just forget. And the tree huggers of the 60s. I mean, when you put your chakras, your energy centers up against a tree, you align with the bridge, the energetic bridge that the tree is between heaven and earth. Everything comes back into balance immediately. So there's just so many simple things. Even the HeartMath Institute. Are you familiar with that?
HeartMath, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love it. I learned that actually at my first Dr. Joe Dispenza course that I was saying had saved my life. They were just kind of getting going at that point. So they had everybody like kind of as tests to do like 1,000 people, right? Yeah. So, and I have a little HeartMath ear thing, and then you can see. But when we get into that coherence, that's where that instant healing happens, right? That we don't know about.
Right. It's a coherence. That's right. It's organized. It's balanced.
Yeah, this isn't going.
That's not going. No.
No, you're just focused on your breath. And the other thing that I loved was how Greg Braden, back to him again, which you said in Mexico, and I know he lives out that way. He was sharing about that the heart has brain, and that I always had a brain, but they didn't know that until like 92 or something. Like, that's huge, because we always wanted to listen to our heart as kids, but then we were told that you needed to listen to your head, which probably is where everything went wrong.
That's when everything went wrong. Exactly. I call the heart center and the high heart, they work in conjunction, which the high heart connects us to universal love, right? The love for all that is, in conjunction with the heart center. I call it our inner GPS, our God positioning system.
Ooh, I like
and
that.
It is the place where all of those dualities, those opposites that define our earthly experience, where they all integrate and unify. And the more present we are, and Rumi had this wonderful quote, I'm sure you may have heard of it, when he said, step out of the circle of time and into the circle of love. Love.
I haven't heard that, but I really like that.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And love brings us into that eternal now, into that space of the heart where there is no time and there is no space. You're beyond the time-space continuum, and you're living in that state of coherence and wholeness. And to heal, as you know, is to become whole.
And that all starts in the heart.
Yes.
That's the portal. That's where our portal is.
It's our portal.
Right?
It's our portal. And then this whole thing about presence, and people say, well, that sounds great, but how can I be more present? Well, just that Toltec practice of stalking yourself, of noticing where is your attention and bringing it back to your heart, that makes you more and more present. And the less thoughts that are distracting you, the more present you are. And the more you're in your body, and the more you're in your body, grounded in your body and in your heart center, which are one and the same, the more effectively you can be of service in the world. Because even in the spiritual realm, we all want to be of service, but if we're not grounded in our bodies, we can't do that as effectively.
100%.
It's all related, right?
And I also thought that it was interesting when it went through the Vatican, my first time to Europe a few years back, the pine cone, right? I was like, well, look at that, because I had just learned about it. And of course, I don't know that everybody knows about that, but I thought that was fascinating that they would have this huge pine cone out the viewing window, right? And that's the pineal gland, right? Where apparently that's our natural pharmacy that we don't even know about or have access to. Like, what? Right. But they do. So those mystery schools were teaching it.
The mystery schools were teaching it, right. And the pine cone is everywhere. I mean, in the Angkor Wat, the shape of those temples is in the shape of a pine cone. And that pine cone is also, I think, on the Pope's staff. Now, it's a matter of at the top of the staff, but in different places, you'll see the symbolism.
And the Egyptian, when you were talking on the, yeah, it's everywhere. Yes. It's important. Why are we not being taught about that?
We're not. And we need the mystery schools of today. The ones that exist need to come more out into the open. And I think people should start them. They should start them for children. Especially.
I was just having this thought today, I really was. I mean, I've thought about it for many years and talked about that. I mean, we just don't know. We don't know how we operate in this energetic universe. And it's so important, especially right now when things are so intense and the energies and the solar flares and the three-eye atlases and the, if we had, we don't know, right? We have to keep listening to people tell us that what they think, what we're supposed to be,
Right.
That, but it's just so interesting once you start to understand it and see it, right?
I know. And then, like I say, you realize how powerful you are. I have one of my people say, well, what's an effective? I'm a big fan of simplicity. I don't like practices where you have to remember all these steps and then, do all these different things, because it just takes you more into your head. So I love the I am decrees, which is a gift from Ascended Master Saint Germain and the whole Ascended Master Pantheon, where we align with our mighty I am present, which is our connection to God Spirit. And how do we do that? Through our heart centers, right? We align with the tube of white light that extends from the heart up through the crown, going through the pineal, up through the crown, and exists about an arm's length above the head and connects us to Spirit God, the Creator, whatever word people want to use.
Right.
And these I am decrees, which is where we are commanding as an extension of God. We're not God the Father, or the Creator, but we're sparks of God. We're divine beings of light, right? And so we were made in His image. Some people say His, her. It's whatever feels right to you. There's, really, we can't get hung up on the words, on these semantics. I like to use the word creator, and it doesn't have to be masculine or feminine. So the I am decrees, well, if you say something as simple as, I am invincible, I am unstoppable, I am powerful beyond measure, I am infinite, I am a master in all that I am. I am. And when you say those words, oh my gosh, physiological things happen. Like, bursts of light ignite in your cells. The electrons and protons start spinning faster and faster around the nuclei of your atoms, which is what it means to raise your frequency. You become an invincible force of love and healing in the world, almost like an impermeable kind of, I don't like the word shield because we want to let the love in, but like an impermeable membrane where you're so protected, right, by God and by your own light, which you're an extension of God's Spirit. So these I am decrees are so incredible. I think it's probably one of the most powerful spiritual practice you could do. And people say, well, what do I say? Say whatever you want, Say what
just even say I am.
I am.
I have it on my mirrors. Like Wayne Dyer. Did you ever hear any of his I am meditations?
No, I know about him, and I think a while ago I listened to some of his.
Yeah, it's probably
Not
like 20
those,
years
not the
ago.
I am ones, though. Yeah.
Did this I am. It was just a powerful meditation, and it really brought my attention to the fact I am tired. I am.
Well, we often say that.
Oh my goodness, without even really realizing that.
Without realizing.
We're stating that as our divine self.
Yes.
That we're putting that out there and then attracting that in.
Yes.
It's like wild.
And we attract that. That's how powerful we are. Right. So even to just say, I am joy. I mean, joy is the highest vibration we can hold, it's a state of being. And it encompasses love, which is also a state of being. But can you imagine?
Gratitude? Is joy higher?
Gratitude? Joy. If all you ever did was practice and be joy and gratitude, that could be your only spiritual practice. And you would heal. You can heal everything. And be, raise your frequency, can accelerate your spiritual expansion. It's incredible what is possible. But we've been trained, all of us, in a world that values lack and limitation, and that believes in death and disease. And that somehow we bought into that paradigm. But it doesn't have to be that way.
That's right. We get whatever we're talking about, right? And so if we're saying, I am health, I am abundant, I am happy, it's just, and throughout the day, right? Like not just
throughout the day,
right? Like I started to focus on what was going through my head. I'm shocked once I started to pay attention, because I didn't realize that my thoughts were that negative.
Yeah.
But they were. But I always thought that I was a positive person.
Right.
I wasn't paying attention to the stories. And probably lots of months or years, there was lots of positive stuff going through there.
Right.
But, you get a trigger and something happens, and then down into the shame blame game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we could go into automatic pilot sometimes and not even realize it.
I think that's the most dangerous part, right? Because, like you say, we are so powerful. We don't understand that. And our words are, once you state something, that's that. It's out there, right? And it's coming back, whether it comes back in 5 years or whether it comes back as a boomerang, which tends to be happening right now, I feel. I don't know. It's a good way to wake up.
More and more. And I see words as energy packets. They are so powerful. And that ancient, the word abracadabra that magicians use, abracadabra. It's an ancient Aramaic word that means as I speak, so I create.
And so I love that. I didn't know that.
Doesn't that make sense? And so we see the magician as doing something that's, quote, magical, but we can create magic and miracles all the time, right? As I speak, like you're saying, so I create. And
Joe Rogan say that's bananas, right? It's bananas. It's exciting, actually, if we can just wrap our head around it and start to practice it.
Right.
So in your books, do you have like where you're teaching kind of that, or is that more your courses? Yeah. Yes and yes. Okay.
So my books. Okay, so the books, I see my books as teaching vehicles, absolutely. And Sojourns of the Soul as well. This is all earmarked. This was the book. This Years of Living Dangerously is the sequel to Sojourns of the Soul.
Okay, and put that back up there again. I didn't see the front of it.
They are sequels. I'm sorry, they are teaching vehicles. And then the novel, The Third Muse, which came out like in 2014, even though it's fiction, it's devoted to the divine feminine wisdom of Mary Magdalene and the Magdalene order and the healing power of love. So my books are multi-layered, Yes, they're there for entertainment, but they're also there to inspire and uplift and heal. That's my hope is that that's what they do. So there's a lot of ancient wisdom in these books, and it's the perennial wisdom.
It's so great when you're reading something and it makes you feel good, right? Like I used to just open books, like lots of books, right?
Yes.
And like just kind of like boom and read it and just feel sometimes I'd have to read it a couple of times to really grasp what it was saying, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. And it made me feel so good afterwards. So I love that your books are, it's like reading all of these horrors and I did it one summer because I always read these positive thinking books, right?
Yes.
So I picked, and guess what I picked up? 50 Shades of Grey out of Costco. I hadn't heard anything about it. And I was like, I'm at the lake with the kids, and I'm thinking, holy cow, this is what people read. What the heck? I'd really,
that's so
was doing myself a little project where I was actually going to read a book, right? That everybody else kind of reads. And what a waste of energy, right? A lot of sex going on in there, though.
Right, I heard about it. I didn't read it, but I heard about it. So
you didn't miss anything.
I know. Well, that's where we have to use our intuition to be guided to the books that will uplift and transform us, right? That we would, like you say, or even a great film, when you feel really elevated after watching a great film. What a feeling.
I love that.
Yeah, or listening to great music. The arts are so important. The art and culture is a doorway to spirit, just like healers can function as vehicles that open the doorway to spirit. And so everything we do is a creative endeavor. To business people who start a business, they're creators, so it's just a matter of, I think operating from that place of wanting to be of service. And if you want to be of service, you don't want to drag people down, Yeah.
Right. That, right?
Right.
That energy drain.
The energy drain, right.
Right. You're hanging out with somebody, next thing you know, you're just exhausted. You're like,
oh, right. Yeah, sometimes all of a sudden you start sinking in your chair and you're wondering what's going on. Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So do you do courses as well online?
Yes, I have courses. I do have a course that I created a while ago, which has been popular, called Awakening the Mystic Within. And it is an initiation into the secret teachings of the ages, which is all those mystery school teachings and practices and the ancient wisdom of the ages. And it's really designed, it's kind of a crash course in esoteric wisdom. And I go all the way back to Atlantis and Lemuria, to up through the Essenes and Christ consciousness and the Holy Grail, to divine feminine, the goddess archetypes. I have a module on the Ascended Master teachings, on indigenous wisdom. I have 2 modules on healing the mind and healing the heart. And I have a module on alchemy, which goes all the way back to ancient Egypt. I have 2 modules on the Egyptian mysteries. So it's like all in one place. And people don't have to spend years and years researching, because I make it very accessible, a lot of these complex teachings. But it's really wisdom. It's the wisdom of the ages. It's, we all carry that within ourselves. And so if people listen to these audios, it will spark a remembrance. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I know I was in Egypt. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it just like, without a doubt. And for sure I was on the Titanic. Oh. That whole rounded thing. I got something going on there.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Well, that's very helpful knowledge to tune into your past lives and to, take those lessons and the wisdom gained and apply it to this life. And, like I said, infinite works in progress. And it's an exciting, very exciting journey. It's a matter of reframing your experiences in your mind.
Right. And so question, the Lemurians and the Atlantis whole thing. I just started to learn about that a few years ago, like the Pleiadians and the Arcturians. Like this, why is that not more well known? Like this is
these ancient civilizations,
really big.
Right? Wow, they were so advanced. I also take people on sacred journeys, Jackie, and I just took a group. I'm bringing this up because I just took a group to the epicenter of ancient Atlantis, which is in Bimini, off the coast of the Bahamas. It's in the Bahamas, I'm sorry, off the coast of Florida, in the Bahamas, in the Atlantic Ocean. It's not far from a lot of us here in the U.S., and that was the main epicenter of Atlantis, which was called Poseida. So I was able to transmit the Atlantean wisdom. I have a huge connection with that and with Lemuria. And these two civilizations were so advanced. There are explorations that Edgar Cayce's Association for Research and Enlightenment have initiated to really search for remnants in the physical realm of ancient Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean. But these were huge continents. Atlantis spanned the whole Atlantic Ocean all the way to Santorini, because Plato wrote about Atlantis in his writings and mentioned Santorini as one of the outposts. So Lemuria was in the Pacific. And, there are varying accounts. If people are interested, they will find books on this, but you have to look for them. And like I said, I have a module in my course, Awakening the Mystic Within, on these ancient civilizations and the gifts that they gave to us. Lemuria extended supposedly from the west coast of the U.S. all the way up, probably up to Vancouver where you are, and all the way into the South Pacific Islands, said to have even extended into New Mexico as far east, and we're west, but eastward, but it's also extended to the Indian Ocean. Huge continents with with a lot of colonies and outposts. And Lemuria supposedly was an earlier civilization than Atlantis, but throughout their history, they also overlapped. And they basically self-destructed, and there are different theories about this. Lemuria was supposedly of more of a feminine consciousness, Atlantis being more masculine, but I think that overly simplifies things. Atlantis was very technologically advanced. Lemuria was very advanced in healing and, artistic pursuits, and the Lemurians especially had connections with the land of Mu and our star families. Mount Shasta in California, where I've also done sacred journeys, is a very powerful Lemurian access point. And there is supposedly an underground city called Talos, which you've heard about, which Talos means yoking. It's like yoga, where your soul is connected to God. And these beings are so advanced. They're descendants of ancient Lemuria. And they live in this fifth dimensional crystal city that's in a higher dimension. We can't really see it. And it's supposedly underneath Mount Shasta, a part of the Agartha network of inner earth peoples. It is said that the Telosians, as descendants of Lemuria, who hold a vibration in the 5D and higher, will not come to the surface until the earthlings can match them in their vibration. Although some have supposedly been spotted in Mount Shasta, there are a lot of mystical things that happen there, and also in other places.
Well, and a lot of people that visit there are very high vibrational, so they probably are able to see or feel whatever
and connect. Absolutely.
It looks like under the pyramids too, that there's a whole city and life going on underneath there.
Yes.
And they're saying in Canada, there's all these volcanoes now that they've never knew were there.
Right. All this, new things coming out, right? Where they had a discovery of what looked like these cylindrical generators under the pyramids, which to me, again, this is my opinion, is ancient Atlantean technology, which is about harnessing the energy of the cosmos, which is what pyramids do, harnessing the energy of the cosmos for healing. Back then, people would go to pyramids and they'd bring plants and crops there, and it would augment the growing ability of crops. Pyramids stabilize the electromagnetic fields of the earth, create immense 0-point healing. So if you sit in the vicinity of a pyramid, you'll just, with intention and attention, and it's not just that simple, but if you sit there for a long enough period of time intending to heal something, it will be healed. Because of the 0-point energy field it creates. And this is very complex and gets into
I love this stuff. I just think that's fascinating.
So it's fascinating.
There's
so much. There's you could never know everything. And, but I wanted people who are interested in the perennial wisdom, the esoteric wisdom of the ages, which has up until now been secret. It's been held very closely because, the keepers of this wisdom through time didn't want it to be corrupted. Now, some of it was. However, I wanted to put the pure wisdom in one place for easy access that people can come back to over and over again. And it's all in that audio course, Awakening the Mystic Within. I also just released an audio course on the heart of the Magdalene. And this is about my journeys to the Magdalene sites where I took groups. I'm not doing that anymore, and that's in the south of France. And also her teachings and the Gospel of Mary and how to activate your light body and the Essene Mystery School. So I have that. I have a course, an audio course on activating your light body, which brings light body teachings in from many different wisdom traditions, including the Tibetan, the Egyptian, and the Essene, and others, and the indigenous wisdom tradition.
Wow. That's amazing.
Like a lot of, And they're all on my website. If people are interested, they could just go to my website, click products. They'll see all of the audio courses. And one is called Sacred Site Journeys of Light, where I actually take people to the sacred sites that I did on the ground, but I take them in cyberspace, and we do meditations and practices at the sites that I describe. And people who have taken that course say it's just as powerful online as it is in person. Now, I'm a big fan of going in person, so I'm going to take a group.
But that whole thing about, we're so close now, right? Before you thought Russia would never, doesn't affect us, any of that stuff, right?
Right.
Absolutely, right in our backyard. And so that whole COVID brought us that understanding that we do this stuff and it actually works, and have that understanding of like, right, they can take that away, but they can't take that. Right. They can't take our light. No. And what that passage, I call it a passage in human history that was very challenging with COVID, etc., is it drew us further apart, but also brought us closer together at the same time, because people realized how connected we all are, Yeah, it's sad though that there's still such a big divide, with the information, and really
there's a big divide, and this is where personal responsibility comes in. When people, like you said earlier, can't keep relying on outside forces to educate them, to tell them what they should be doing, they have to take responsibility and do their own research and find something, find a spiritual path that resonates, where you can actually practice, coming deeper into your heart and moving forward in a way that's healthy and healing, not for yourself, but also for others.
Yeah, just right back to whatever we're saying, right? It's out there. Like, so if we're, I was mad at my daughter the other day. I started to be like, right. I felt like my mother. I was like, okay, that's just toxic. Like, where's that behavior from, right?
Where's that coming from?
Goodness, right?
But see, you're noticing all this, which is amazing. I mean, that is huge, because a lot of people don't even notice.
Oh, I so just don't want to be in the toxic shit anymore. Excuse my language.
No.
Right? I take on everything. Right? Like, okay, that's your fault. Okay, right? Because I just want to just get rid of it, right? But you were saying actually earlier, Dana, that like having it move through you, right? And I think that's really important. That whole. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Like, things are coming to us, but like, I know, like, you kind of clench down because you don't want to feel it, and you don't like it. Doesn't feel good. And that's like the worst thing we can do, right?
Right. We don't want to resist. Right. We want to allow. This again is a divine feminine way of being, which you said both men and women carry these abilities. They're just naturally wired into women, which is to surrender to the experience, not resist it. That's the first step of healing. Don't label it, where we talked about saying, oh, I am sick, I am so tired. Don't label things. Words, remember the power of words. And then allow. So surrendering, trusting, allowing, and receiving are divine feminine attributes that will serve us greatly in this time of awakening. And that's the opposite of what we've been trained to do.
100%.
Is to rely on our masculine qualities, which they're fine. We're not trying to stamp out the masculine. We want the masculine and feminine to coexist side by side as equals. But we've suppressed the divine feminine qualities. So if you have an emotion, that's true, Jackie. You don't want to push it away. You want to look at it, take the information it brings, and then just let it just roll through you and out of you. You don't want to hang on to it. You know, this clinging is what gets us in trouble.
Well, yeah, I think it's the fear, right? Like we feel it and we don't like how it feels. And so we kind of tense up, but then it gets stuck. Like now we're holding it. It didn't pass through. And that's powerful information to understand because we don't want to not feel like that, right? So whenever that's coming up, we're all kind of pushing for it to go away, clamp it down, or we go into fear.
Right. Let's just not look at that. But you're absolutely right. And that's what our society subliminally tells us to do. But, you know, Mary Magdalene would be the first to say, us being on a spiritual path, practicing your spirituality is not about escaping life. It's about sinking deeper and deeper into it, which is to be in your body, to feel everything, but just don't cling to it. Let it go, right?
Yeah, so that's a whole teaching there. That's like that is something that we don't know. I don't think we understand that. Like we don't, like, I mean, you can say it sounds simple again, but that is a practice.
It's a practice.
How to do it, what you're doing, and when you don't feel good, why, right? It's not that person's fault. You've going on. That's then
right.
It's the only way. It's the only way is for us to understand that.
To understand, yes, that we are creating. It's a hard one. That we are creating everything that happens to us.
Yeah, I know. I really didn't like that.
And that Course in Miracles, right? I am not the victim of the world I see. If you just repeated that, I am not the victim of the world I see. Oh my gosh, you would make such great strides.
Yeah, I wrote out, the 4 agreements.
Yes.
Right. And then
I like those.
What others are doing has got, their judgment and their whatever has got nothing to do with me. That's their own. And I think really grasping that, right? Really holding that, because when somebody's saying to you, oh, it's your fault and you're doing this, as we all do, then you're saying, oh, well, what did I do? I did it right. And then as soon as we're doing that, we now just took that on, even though that probably wasn't ours. They're experiencing their own world through whatever they're perceiving.
Right.
And so, it's so, sounds simple, but it's just a practice, right?
It's a practice. And A Course in Miracles, which has been one of my greatest teachers, and that could be a multi-lifetime teaching, such a powerful, transformational, sacred text and practice. They give practices. These are supposedly the channeled teachings of Yeshua, right, that came through a Columbia University professor. But they have a lot of statements that you repeat. There are meditations, 365 for every day of the year. In addition to
that book, I still haven't finished it. Right.
And yes, and the Course, and I often find myself quoting it because it's about a radical reversal of perception, which is, like you were saying, it's not somebody else's fault. We have to take responsibility. And the Course is all about forgiveness, right? In the holy instant, where we forgive in a moment of oneness, where we see ourselves as the other. Because this is the reason I was thinking, why do we even need to heal? Why? Because we have, all of us humans, bought into the idea of separation. That's as simple as that. Separation from God, from ourselves, and from each other. And so the Maya have the Mayan Mystery School is another incredible wisdom school. A beautiful saying called In Lakesh Alakain. I am you, you are me. And when you go deeply into all these various wisdom traditions, they're all saying the same thing, is that there is no subject and object. There is
so hard to grasp, though, right? Like you think about these
so hard to
people,
grasp.
right, doing these nasty things. You're thinking,
right? It is.
I have to
doing
be
these nasty things.
Apparently,
yeah.
yeah.
And the Course says when all of us, and I like to believe that no one person goes home unless we all go together. Go home, meaning back to spirit, back to God. And that can happen in our bodies. It's not necessarily about, quote, dying, which is another misguided concept, because we are eternal beings, and because the consensus reality said we all have to have sickness and die. I mean, that's not necessarily true. The Course in Miracles says there is no death. And so if we wanted to become true adepts, we can train our minds like the Ascended Masters did to defy death and illness and disease and lack and limitation, on every level. That's what Jesus did. That's what Mary Magdalene, that's what Saint Germain did, Baba G. You could go to any wisdom tradition and they all did that. And they became immortal beings of light.
Is that got anything to do with learning how to go into your light body?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to take that course. I always meant to take one to understanding, because I don't really actually have the understanding of that.
Yes.
I know that it's super important. So glad we're having
right. And that's a very complex subject. But in my course, which people can find on my website.
Which is, what's your website again?
It's danamicucci.com. So that's DANAMICUCCI.com. And they could go to the products tab and they'll see all the audio courses. They're all self-study, Jackie. So you just do it at your own pace. And a reading list comes with it if you want to, go even further. But it's very in-depth, the course itself.
That's what I've read, and that's my interest my whole life. I just love that stuff.
Oh yes.
I don't know how everybody does it. Like, it's just fascinating.
It's so fascinating. And, we've all been conditioned again to believe that, oh, well, that's for these great beings, these avatars. Only they can do this. No, that was their whole teaching is, like Yeshua said, all these things I could do, you could do also, and even greater things than these. And the Ascended Masters say that the only difference between us and them, now the Ascended Masters are immortal beings of light. They have full access to all of their powers. They can come and go from this reality whenever they want. They live in the seventh heaven, in the seventh dimension. They say the only difference between us and them is that their trust in God never wavers, and that they know they are worthy. Whereas humans, regular humans, have these kernels of unworthiness that keep us from reclaiming our divine power, which is our birthright.
100%. But I just am really understanding and grasping that now. And is that, do you think, because the veil, they say that the veil's thinning as to,
yes.
I mean, we're just kind of waking up, right?
Right. The veils are thinning. And Jackie, you've probably noticed more and more people are waking up. They are. And they're seeking meaning and depth in their lives, feeling something is missing and they can't quite put what, and they're, ultimately it's about refining your connection with God. And when we do that, when we align with the universal consciousness, God, Spirit, the Creator, miracles, anything is possible. Anything. And we begin to live more and more in the miracle zone.
I always said to my kids, if you believe, you will receive for Christmas.
Oh, that's great.
And it's just so that, especially right now, like,
I love that.
Yeah. Like you don't, if you're not believing, then just wash your hands and walk away.
That's right.
Yeah. And the fact that we can't see it and you have to trust within, I have so many close friends that I'm sure they think I'm crazy because, I talk about like this, them, and they don't know. And I mean, I want them to know, but.
Right. But there's a lot of resistance still, I know. And we could see this in people that are close to us. And sometimes it's frustrating and, and then we just have to, again, just let go because,
Yeah,
We'll come to it at
don't
some
want to come
point.
across like, well, I know more than you are, like that whole thing.
No,
then
you're,
starts to come, and then it gets yucky, right? And so, but I think that there is a shift there. I really do. I feel like there's
a
truths are
shift.
being seen.
Yes.
The lie, cheating, stealing, I think is being shown. And,
Yes.
It took a long time, but it's happening.
It's happening. It's all coming to the surface, right? When you shine light in an attic and you see all the cockroaches, whoa, you can't see it until the light shines on it. And all that darkness is coming to the surface to be cleared from this planet. And it will not come back because we're moving at such an accelerated rate into the higher dimensions. I mean, who knows what we'll see in our lifetimes, but
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
We're moving into the new Earth, which is a frequency, which is here now. It needs to anchor more into the physical realm. But the new Earth frequency is here.
The portals,
and we can choose to attune ourselves to that radio station, right? The new Earth radio station.
That's so true. And it's funny because I've really had a lot of resistance the last couple of weeks. And it's like I'm like getting in my own way all the time.
Yeah. We all do that.
That's a new thing, but it's frustrating because I know that that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
And setting an intention first thing in the morning and just taking 5 minutes. Holy, the whole day is like magnetic and this and fun. And the day,
fun.
But I get in my own way and don't do it, or you know what I mean? It's halfway through the day and I haven't stopped to say, okay, let's maybe check in, right? Where it's just
right. It does take some work, and people are afraid of the word work, but it does take that vigilance and dedication and devotion, and that you see results. When we do the work, the results are incredible.
Immediate. You're an amazing woman. I really have enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, me too. You're amazing.
Go check out your courses. I think that's. Yeah, I have like these amazing guests that I get to talk to, and they all have this incredible information. It's like I have a whole bag full of stuff.
Oh, well, you're amazing too. And your light is so huge, and your joy, it just comes off the screen. Your joy is really, yes, really exuberant.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. So, Miss Dana, we're going to put this, how people can get a hold of you in the show notes. And we need to probably have another conversation.
Oh, I'd love to.
I'm going to dive into some of your teachings, and then I'll reach out to you and see if you want to chat again.
Sure, I would love to, Jackie. Thank you. I'm honored to be your guest.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Thanks for hanging out and learning with me about how we can become the best version of ourselves. See you next time.